If you're tired of paying a fortune for coding models, then this is for you. I just built this Reddit clone using an open-weight model called MiniMax M2.7. It's almost as good as Claude Opus and 10 times cheaper. And this app is feature complete. It's got user authentication and all the bells and whistles. And what's really cool is I didn't have to change my workflow at all. I actually just used MiniMax within Claude Code. And if you have a look at Subagents Pro, this model is comparable to Opus 4.6. Yes, it's an older generation Opus model, but it's still very good, and just consider the price difference. And the fascinating thing is how they actually trained this model. So stick around until the end of the video and we'll have a look at that. How's it? I'm Leon, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use the MiniMax models in Claude Code. Right, so I'm starting off with a blank project folder, and in the Claude folder, we can create a settings.json file. Then in this file, we have to add this configuration. You can download all of this from the GitHub repo linked in the description of this video. We're simply pointing the Anthropic base URL to the MiniMax Anthropic endpoint. And of course, we have to authenticate using our MiniMax API key. So depending on your plan, and I think for the majority of you, we'll simply use MiniMax M2.7. But I also have a high-speed plan for power users. And in these two properties, we'll disable Claude Code sending usage logs to Anthropic. Right, so in order to get an API key, go to minimax.io, then under login, go to API platform, then go to the token plan page. From here, click on manage plan. For you, you probably won't have any plans assigned at this stage. Now, there are several plans available. You've got these high-speed plans, which are for power users. But for the majority of you, you'll be interested in Starter, Plus, or Max. Now, how pricing works with MiniMax is you get a certain amount of requests every 5 hours. So for the Plus plan, that's 4,500 requests. Now, this means you're not billed based on token usage, which is really important. Whether you're sending a simple hello or a massive PRD, those all count as a request. So my pro tip for using MiniMax is be as detailed as possible when sending prompts. This also gives you massive headroom and can easily get you the equivalent of a $200 Anthropic plan. And one more thing on the token plan, it actually gives you access to all of the different models. It's not just for coding, you can do image and video and speech generation using the same API key. I have partnered with MiniMax on this video, and they're giving my audience 12% off if you use the link in the description. That applies to any of these plans. Right, after signing up for a plan, within this token plan page, scroll down to API key, then copy this key and add it to this file. And that's it. If you open Claude Code, this will now use the MiniMax model instead of the Claude models. So let's see if we can build this Reddit app together and ensure that all of the Claude Code features still work. So let's start by going into planning mode. To save on time, I'm simply going to copy this prompt describing the tech stack and our Reddit clone core features. You can copy all of the prompts used in this video for free using the link in the description. We're currently in planning mode, so let's send the prompt. Right, you might be wondering how you can view your usage. Again, go to your token plan. This is the most important page pretty much in this MiniMax website. If you scroll down, you can see your current text generation usage. This has gone up to 30 requests already. And by the way, as I mentioned, you do get access to all of their models, so you can see your text-to-speech usage, music generation, lyrics, image gen, image understanding, it's all here. This also includes web search, which Claude Code is definitely going to use. This was really fast. MiniMax just generated this plan in less than 2 minutes. Right, so everything still seems to work. I'm just going to go out of planning mode. Let's go into change mode. Please store the plan in the plans folder. And just look at the token generation. This is stupidly fast. Right, so the plan was saved, but let's see how good this model is at following instructions and using the tools available in Claude Code. So what I'm going to do is start Claude Code in Agent View. Then I'll pull in our plan and say, please set up the tech stack only and nothing else. And if I click into the session, it's just flying through all of this. While the agent is setting up Next.js, I'm going to install a few important skills. We'll install the front-end design skill, and I'm not going to do it myself, by the way. Let's get the agent to do it. So I'll say set up the following skills, select Claude Code, and install at project level. We'll do the front-end design skill, and for automated testing, let's also install the agent browser. And let's run this. And if I press back, that agent is now working, and it seems like our project setup was complete. So let's do this. please start the dev server on port 3000. And the dev server is currently running on port 3000. Perfect. It doesn't look like much at the moment, but we're going to do a lot of work here. Nice. The agent skills were also installed, and this looks perfect. So these skills are all there. Wonderful. Right, so let's build this app now. For this, I'm going to run the goal command, and this will force the agent to run in a loop, and it will continue working on this application until everything is done. So what I'm going to do is pull in our plan again, and then we're going to give it this prompt. This basically tells the agent to keep working on this project until everything is implemented and tested. So it needs to use the browser skill to open the browser in edit mode and test its changes. And it should also use the front-end design skill to create a beautiful design and store the design system in the design.md file. So I'll actually just create a design.md file right now, which is empty at the moment. Awesome. Let's send this. So let's click into this session. And now we're using Claude Code's goal command to implement this. All right, so it actually just created the design system. And if I go to the design.md file, it set up all the colors, the typography, the spacing system, the border radius. So this is looking really promising. In fact, let's see if it's able to use subagents. Please try not to implement everything yourself. When possible, use subagents to implement changes and features in parallel. And that's working. We've got 4 sub-agents running at the same time, working on different features in this application. Now, this is also worth showing. So yes, the app still doesn't look great because the agent is still very much busy building it, but it is controlling this browser itself. So it's using that browser skill to test our application end to end. So there's another thing I like to do is I would start another session using the loop command, and I'll just tell this one to run, I don't know, every 5 minutes. All right, then for the prompt, I'm going to pass it this. So I'm simply asking the agent to review the UI and to ensure that we are following the design system. And it shouldn't just look at the HTML and CSS. It needs to use the browser and visually analyze the UI. That's really it. So I am thinking that 5 minutes might be too tight, but let's just see what happens. And so for full transparency, I actually did notice that it's taking a very long time to implement the solution. So I interrupted the agent and I asked it if it's stuck. So it said, yes, it is stuck. It can't seem to figure out how the auth system works. So just to help it out, I am going to install 1 or 2 more skills. So let's install the better auth best practices skill. I'll just do it myself in the terminal. It's really not that hard. And let's also install the next best practices skill. Then I'll just ask it to use the better auth skill and the Next.js skill to help the agent get through this. Right, it is pulling in these skills. And that is a really important point when it comes to these open weight models. They're not always as feature complete as something like Opus. So just assign skills to it or provide it with detailed documentation, and it should be able to reason through the problem itself. So it took about 30 minutes, and it did have to compact the conversation once or twice. And if we just have a look at the app real quick, everything does seem to be working. We've got a whole bunch of posts. We actually can't upvote or downvote because we haven't signed in. But if we click on any of these posts, we can see the entire thread and we can sign in to leave a comment. So let's try to actually sign up. So I'll just provide all of these details and that's it. We were able to create an account and everything seems to be working. So let's try to leave a comment as well. And I can see my comment at the bottom of this list as well. I mean, for a one-shot prompt, this is not bad at all. And let's actually have a look at our usage so far. And this is what I'm referring to. This is only a $20 plan, and we've done a lot of work, and we're only using 11% of this plan. And keep in mind, this was a proper workflow. We kicked off sub-agents, we used agent skills, we even had automated testing using the browser. So before we wrap up, I actually want to show you something really cool. This is how MiniMax trained this model. MiniMax says that in their own words, M2.7 is the first model that deeply participated in its own evolution. Now, this might sound like marketing speak, but let me try and explain. Basically, MiniMax used the previous version of this model to help build a system that trained M2.7. So the model basically helped train its own successor. How cool is that? They then tested the results against OpenAI's MLE bench. That's about 22 machine learning competitions. And the model ranked second only to Opus and GPT 5.4. So the human researchers are still steering the direction, but the model is doing its own construction work. I'll link to this article in the description if you are curious, but this really is fascinating. So just as a reminder, if you want to try MiniMax yourself, you'll get 12% discount if you use the link in the description and in the pinned comment. And this is how you can use MiniMax in Claude Code. Now go and build something lekker.